a large part of the population of Delhi is from Punjab and Haryana. So that culture is not unknown to me.
Tendency of cases would be similar in both cases.
Well, I would perhaps say because of the pressure of work.
One of the issues during the last 1 year, which has been in the news too, is of the Khap Panchayats in Haryana. In a couple of judgments, you came down pretty heavily on the functioning of the Khap Panchayats. What is the solution to this? Do you think we need to enact a law to ban the existence of Khap Panchayats altogether?
No, I don't think that is the right way to do it. You see, Khap Panchayats are a social phenomena, and I don't think in social customs and norms the legislature need to intrude into. As long as you are able to enforce the existing laws properly, which I think the police and administration can. Because you see, killing of a person who marries against the wishes of the Khap Panchayat is murder, pure and simple, and it should be treated like that.
But don't you think at one point of time sati was a practice, it was a social practice,
yes,
and yet it was banned by law.
It
and
was.
Here when people are necessarily, the Khap Panchayats may not be doing
no,
it. But
there is already, you see, actually sati need not have been banned because abatement to suicide and murder were always there. But it was done, I believe, there were social compulsions, but I don't think this is a law which is post-independence.
Yes, this is much before that. Yes.
So, post-independence, we have an independent functioning constitution and an independent government, and I think existing laws should be able to deal with it.
But do you think that can happen when most political parties are kind of soft peddling the issue?
It is possible that they are, and that's where the court needs to set in, and that is where the public interest litigation comes in.
So you think at one level it has to be persuasion and the other level it has to be enforcement of the law?
Look, it's very simple. I spoke the other day also about this, that with the media coming into every house, now you see not only news of India's modernization rapidly, you also see social norms where boy meets girl in every serial.
Yes.
And a love affair develops. Now, how can you see a person who, let's say, is from Haryana, being immune to all this? While I must say that the societal norms should be respected, they should not be intrusive. They should not eat into somebody else's freedom.
Absolutely.
By all means, you say that I will not marry against the norms which are set by my panchayat, but you can't tell your neighbor not to marry.
Just Mudgal, corruption and judicial accountability is another issue which has been talked
Yes.
about and which is engaging the attention of the society.
Yes.
What is your view on the judicial standards and accountability bill?
If on a minor complaint, a judge is put under pressure of only an inquiry, which may eventually prove to be absolutely useless, in the sense the complaint may be found to be worthless, then you may find that bold judges and independent judges tend to become timid.
Okay.
And that should not happen.
We agree that there should be no witch hunt. But at the same time, I think the impeachment process is far too long, far too cumbersome. So something definitely needs to be done so that people's faith in judiciary is maintained.
I think as long as the executive takes the Chief Justice of India into confidence and evolves a method by which, while preserving judicial independence, waywardness can be looked at, then I don't think there should be a problem, but there should be something time-bound, something quick, both in the interest of the judge concerned and in the interest of the society at large.
There is also the debate on whether the present collegium system of the appointment of judges, whether it should stay or we should revert to the old system. What is your view on this?
It is also said that India is the only country in the world where the judges appoint themselves. It appears to be right. But I would say it has its positive fallouts and there may be some negative fallouts also. But nevertheless, I have been a beneficiary of the system of collegium.
What
So
about
it would not be proper for me.
What about the appointment of judges, chief justices from other than the High Court where they are posted?
There are plus points and negative points depending on the court. Sometimes the plus points outweigh the negative points, sometimes the negative points also.
But Justice Mudgal, very often the tenure is so short. Maybe
True.
in your case it was just over a little more than 1
months.
year. So tenure is so short that they are not able to get to the local customs, local traditions.
Yeah, that is the a drawback of the outside Chief Justices. Also, by the time they come to know of the judges for appointment, the period is getting over in certain instances. But I would like to suggest to you a positive step taken by the present collegium,
yes,
which is sending judges in advance, those which are proposed to be appointed as Chief Justices. In Punjab, Justice Gogoi had been sent about 4 months in advance of
yes,
his prospective appointment, which may be any day now.
One of the other very contentious issues, Justice Mudgal, is of what is known as the uncle judges or the kith and kin syndrome.
True. It bothers the bar a lot all
That's
over
right.
the country.
So what is your view on this?
Look, you have to take the social structure of India. You would find doctors' children becoming doctors. You find chartered accountants' children becoming chartered accountants. You see politicians' children taking to politics. And something which I am well aware of, musicians' children becoming musicians. So, as such, it is not something which you can frown upon. But if it leads to an undue promotion of a person much before his time.
But don't you think it has a direct bearing on the functioning of, the functioning of the bar? Because it is well known that those lawyers who have some kind of patronage, they flourish in no time, while all others have to slog endlessly.
That's where the Chief Justice comes in. And that's where a Chief Justice has to ensure that in administrative decisions and arrangement of roster, which judge is to be posted where, you take care of such grievances.
So how serious was the problem in the Punjab and Haryana High Court as the Chief Justice since you looked after the roster?
I don't think it was as serious as it is vividly portrayed all the time.
But do you favor some kind of a system of having a judicial ombudsperson who kind of regularly monitors the functioning of the judges, the co-judges and some lawyers, so that that syndrome of you scratch my back and I scratch yours as far as the judges are concerned or some lawyers are concerned is dealt with?
That is an issue which leads to erosion of independence. And I wouldn't favor an outside body. It should be a body of, yes, maybe the 3 senior most judges of the High Court, which is really the collegium, also looks into this issue. And believe me, we did look into such issues.
One of the issues which is being talked about in rather hush-hush tones is that you had a short tenure here, and just before your retirement, you forwarded a list of lawyers for elevation to the bench.
Yes, I'll tell you what exactly had happened. I joined it in December, this court.
Yes.
And in January only really started overseeing the functioning. From January to June, approximately 4-5 months is required. The High Court closed in June.
Yes.
For the summer vacations. The senior most judge did not come, was on a vacation for the whole month of July.
Okay.
Now, in the month of July, Justice Gogoi's intimation of appointment had come as the forthcoming Chief Justice prior to his being appointed. Now, in such a situation, I could not have held a collegium without Justice Gogoi.
Because he was to take over.
Yes. So he took over in September. It certainly needed for him a couple of months to get acquainted with it, the system and the lawyers. So that is why the appointment.
So maybe a lot of people don't understand the whole process that you were following.
I'm telling you, this is the reason why it took long.
Justice Mudgal, one of the last cases you heard as the Chief Justice here related to illegal detention by the police. Now, we had been hearing of these cases during the days of militancy in Punjab. Did it surprise you that such a thing should happen even today?
Well, it does happen. In fact, don't think it's only confined to Punjab, it happens all over. This was a news item in Hindustan Times, which I believe you also followed up.
Yes.
And what attracted my attention was that the parents were said to be so poor that they could not approach the High Court.
Yes.
The people are not aware of their rights and their right to have free legal aid. So in such cases, when the news item attracted my attention, my worry was, I took up the case suo motu and issued notice in that very day. The idea was to ensure that once the court takes up the case, the safety of the person concerned is necessary. And I am very happy to note that not only the worry that the person did not exist anymore was over, but also the fact that he was given interim compensation of
Which
rupees
is
1 lakh.
unusual.
There are precedents for it. We had given more also, but you see, he has to live in that village. And the police is very powerful, and there has to be, law forces have to be powerful. Only thing is in the sense that in order to ensure that he is not harassed.
While the human rights activists also appreciated your effort to give him interim compensation, but a lot of them felt that one, the compensation amount could have been higher, and second was that maybe the police should have been hauled up immediately.
Yes, this is possible to take that view, but in the sense that this was not a custody death. It was only, even if everything is in the news item was believed to be correct, it was custody beating.
Yes.
And then
maybe torture. A little more severe than beating, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beating is a form of torture.
Yes.
Indeed. Yes, it was there. So, but in the sense that you have, wherever more cases are on custody death, where compensations are awarded.
Yes.
I think when our democracy fully matures, then the compensation should be extremely heavy.
But do you agree that for such cases we need to provide exemplary punishment to the perpetrators of the crime?
Oh yes, when it is a police which kills a person in its custody, the Law Commission recommended that there should be a section where the burden of proof shifts to the police. They suggested section 114B of the Evidence Act. But that recommendation has not been accepted, obviously by the law enforcement agencies' pressure.
Is there anything from your functioning here that you would call it the unfinished agenda, something you wanted to do and you could not do during this time?
Well, certainly. I think every judge's unfinished agenda is to see that justice is rendered quickly. And with the present state of affairs, it's not easy. But one thing I would proudly like to proclaim about my judges and my High Court, I can call it my High Court after my stay, is that during my tenure, the disposal was more than the filing. So if there were no past areas, we would have been current. There would be no areas.
There is a demand now for a separate High Court for Haryana. With your experience, would you favor a separate High Court for Haryana?
You see, the contentious issue is the jurisdiction over Chandigarh, cases which arise from Chandigarh. Otherwise, I think the issue is perhaps capable of solution.
Justice Mudgal, now to conclude, you wore the legal robes for nearly 38 years. As you hang the robes now and retire, what do you plan doing?
Well, first, to indulge in all the things which I could not. Going out with my friends and having street food, which I love. Then hearing music concerts in extenso, going to art galleries, going to plays. I could just sneak in performances here and there, and then also do something to sustain myself, like in-house chamber practice of advice and arbitrations.
You mentioned about going to the food street. Now we have a food street in Chandigarh, so do we expect to see you there?
You'd be surprised that I've already issued notice on that in a suo motu public action, which is now before another division bench, where I had said that the informal sector should also be given. You see, that was a Punjab University area where students used to eat.
That's right.
Now, I don't think the administration was entirely right in auctioning such a place. It should have been awarded to the khoka owners, the cycle kulcha walas at a nominal rent. But it was auctioned, and then in an auction, when somebody has to pay more price, he'll obviously charge more price.
I think we need to introduce that concept like the flea market concept in some of the Western countries.
Absolutely. And what is the point of ours being a socialist democracy if our municipal laws are so draconian that the informal sector does not exist? That is one of the biggest problems of our municipal laws. They are archaic, they are draconian, and they do not recognize the poor at all.
Thank you very much, Justice Mudgal. Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
With that, we end this edition of Fair and Square. We were in conversation with Justice Mukul Mudgal, who till recently was the Chief Justice of Punjab and Haryana High Court. We meet again next week with another eminent personality. Till then, good luck and goodbye.